So now let's make some lemon bars. So I gotta get out the big girl for lemon bars because the crust really does need to be done in a mixer. You can't do it in a food processor. It's too hard on the dough and it makes it too fine. So you really do need a mixer, or you're gonna have to get in there with your hands and a spoon and mix it really, really well. But this may be the reason to get that stand mixer you've been wanting. But we're gonna start here with the crust for the lemon bars, and it's only 4 ingredients, a good amount of butter, powdered sugar, flour, and a little bit of salt. So we're gonna just put all this together. Butter needs to be soft. And let's start out by mixing it with the sugar. And get that cream together. Gonna go ahead and put the salt in. And we're going to put the flour in, but we need to make sure that we're going very slow or we'll throw flour all over the place. And we'll most likely need to scrape this down to make sure it stays well mixed. The dough's kind of in a shaggy state right now. And I'm sorry, we're only using one camera today, so I'll show you the mixture when it's finished. Essentially, it's a shortbread crust. Okay, I don't want to overmix that flour. So I'm going to show you the dough right now, like that, before I kind of mix it together with the spatula just to get it all put together. I'm going to move the big girl out of the way for just a little bit. And then let's get our, so essentially this is just a shortbread crust we've made, but with powdered sugar instead of granulated sugar. It just keeps the texture a little finer. Does not harm the taste one bit. Goodness, that's good. All right, so I'm just going to scrape down the sides, blending this crust together. And even though this has got a lot of butter in it, and this is one of the fancy nonstick gold pans, I'm still going to just spray some cooking spray, just as a little security measure. So then we just put our dough in the pan. We're going to start mashing this out. Should have thought about that earlier. Take my rings off. And this dough is going to be super, super soft. And you want this to come up on the sides just a little bit, just so when you put the lemon bar liquid after the crust has been cooked, it kind of holds it in like a cup. You want to try and get this as even on the bottom as you can. One of the fun things when you've made these for catering for many years, like we did, you have to learn how to convert these recipes down to what home cooks can use. So the quantities, you always hope you're getting them right. This feels good. I was a little concerned this was a little thin, but as we work it, it seems like it's getting better. So you want to kind of just level this, just push it. If you think something's a little too thin, I think I got a little more on this end than I did on this end, so I'm just going to push the dough down a little bit. And this is going to bake at 350 degrees for probably about 20 minutes. You want this to just be very light golden brown when it comes out of the oven for the first bake. Because what's going to happen, we're going to bake this, get it to a light golden brown, and then while this is still warm, we're going to make the lemon mixture, and then while this is still warm, we'll put the lemon mixture on top and put it back in the oven. But the reason you want to put that on while it's hot is because the lemon mixture is going to have 6 eggs in it as the setting agent, along with flour, so the heat from the crust when it comes out of the oven is going to help set and cook those eggs a little bit in that lemon mixture that's going to go on top. So once you think you got it pretty well leveled out, then you want to build those sides up just a little bit higher so that it looks pretty much like that. We're going to pop this in the 350 oven for about 20 minutes. So while we're waiting for the base of the lemon bars to bake, we're going to go ahead and we're going to make the mixture. So we got the big girl out again, except this time instead of using the paddle, we're going to use the wire whisk attachment that I don't remember where I put. Hang on. Sorry, put it back in the pantry. And the ingredients we have now are very simple. So we've got 3/4 cup of lemon juice. That's just freshly squeezed. Don't use the real lemon or that stuff that comes in a bottle because it'll just taste terrible. We've got 600 grams or 3 cups of sugar. We've got 6 eggs and about 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour, which is just the setting agent. And then this is the zest of 3 lemons, but I'm going to go ahead and do a 4th one, and I just want to show you how I zest a lemon with the microplane. So this is called a microplane, it says right there, but it's also called a rasp. See, it's a woodworking tool also, but this one is made for food grade. Had one of these for 20 years probably, and it's something I use almost every day. But you just want to take this outside zest off. You don't want to get into the white pith because that's bitter. So this will just take off just that outside layer. So it'll look just like that. So this is the zest of 4 lemons, but these lemons are pretty good size. If your lemons were those little tiny ones, I'd probably do the zest of about 6 lemons. And you don't have to be fanatic, you just want to get the majority of it off. This is what really pumps that lemon flavor. The oils in the skin just add so much to any recipe like this. This is very simple. We're just going to add these ingredients. No particular order. They're all going to go in together. So there's lemon juice, 3 cups or 600 grams of sugar, 6 eggs, 3/4 cup of flour, and the zest of 4 large lemons. Oh, so we should get all that. And we're just going to put this in our blender. And if you just have a hand mixer, that part you can just use a hand mix. You can just use the hand mixer for this. I just didn't want to mess up another dish that I had to clean. So just be sure when you use this, you start out slow because otherwise you'll fling this everywhere, especially anything with flour in it. You just want to get this good and incorporated, and the whisk will do that for you. There's a little flour on the side here that I see, so I want to just get that off of here. Scrape down the side. Okay, so we just mix that for about 1.5 to 2 minutes, just to make sure it's really well blended. Let me show you what it's going to look like. Now the one thing you do have to watch is the lemon zest will get stuck on the whisk. So you want to tap that lemon zest off so it gets into the mixture. And then it's going to be creamy and a little frothy, but not too much. And then if you have anything on the sides, you just want to scrape that off and just give it a nice stir just to incorporate it. So this is going to sit here until the base comes out of the oven, and then we'll pour this on top and put it back in the oven. Okay, the base just came out of the oven. It is just getting brown on the edges. Hoping you can see that. This camera is just slightly out of the light box, so it changes the tone of it when it gets over there, but hopefully you can see what it's looking like. So this is just warm right out of the oven. So we're going to go ahead and put the mixture on top of this. Now, one thing I want to caution you about is the sugar. Because this is sat for a few minutes, the sugar does start to work its way down to the bottom, so you do want to give it a little stir just to mix it up before you pour it on. And you're not just going to dump it on, you're just going to pour it relatively slowly. I like to kind of start here at the top. Work my way around. So the eggs that are in here are going to start setting a little bit from the heat of the base layer. And the reason I like to spray those edges with Pam is because sometimes this runs just a little higher than the crust level. It touches the edges, so it just makes it easier to get out when you're finished cooking. So this is going to go back in the oven, and we're going to watch it for about 20 to 25 minutes. Still staying at 350. Just be careful because it's really hot. So here's the finished product right out of the oven. I might have left them 1 or 2 more minutes. There's a little brown on the edge there, but I don't think that's going to really hurt anything in the long run. So these are probably going to need to cool about an hour. They need to be completely cooled to room temperature before we can put some powdered sugar on them and cut them and give them a try. Hey friends, it's the next day. These came out of the oven. Came out great. We might have taste tested just a couple or 4, but this is what the lemon bars should look like when they come out of the oven for you. Got a little bit brown right here on the edge. This was about 23 minutes in the 350-degree oven. I put these in the refrigerator for a couple of hours this afternoon so that I could get the crust to firm up just a little bit. It's going to make them easier to cut. So to cut these nice and even, I like to put the blade under some hot water. Just warms up that knife a little bit, makes it a little easier to cut the base. And then you just cut these to whatever size you want. Just gonna run that right through. Then I always like to just put that in the middle. And then these are very rich, so I think you can cut these into 6 pieces across the sheet pan. And then with a flat spatula. Now this is my bad. Remember to take that edge off because the sugar caramelized right there. And then you're just going to take these out. Just take this, put it on your plate. And it's always nice to serve these with a little powdered sugar on top. Dang, these are good.